KUCR NAMM 2019. We're here at the Focusrite booth with Greg Urbina, and Greg is with Focusrite. And tell us about, where is this company based?
Oh, we're a UK-based company. We're actually founded in the UK. It's pretty awesome to work for the US-based office here. We kind of have been expanding to the US more, so it's really exciting to kind of get the Focusrite, brand out to the US and globally, actually. So.
This brand specializes in interfaces, but between computers and instruments and microphones. How did it actually start, though?
Well, like I said, started in the UK, kind of with our more, isolated preamps and mixing consoles and all that. We've been a company for many decades, and now kind of in the more modern times, we've kind of been moving more towards computer-based interfaces, the digital world, so to speak. So, it's kind of, we're all about moving into the digital age as opposed to analog. That's kind of our trajectory, so to speak.
Is there British-based recording consoles have been very well thought of for quite a long time. Does Focusrite say that they try to embrace that sound, to have the classic British sound, or what's the company philosophy in terms of that?
Yeah, definitely. So I mean, like our ISA range, our standalone preamps are kind of like our more vintage style, like just standalone preamps. We have, some of our interfaces, like the Claret Range, have like a little more top end on their sound, and kind of are meant to model off the ISAs. And that's kind of like the bridge between like our older school like preamps and then the newer school interfaces that kind of try to model that vintage British sound.
Now, why should someone want a Focusrite? First of all, let's tell people what an interface is. How does an interface work, and why is that important to a musician who wants to record music?
Right, so yeah, nowadays, you record onto a computer into like a digital audio workstation like Ableton or Pro Tools or whatever program you're using, and you need to find a way to like convert, the electrical signal of the microphone into like a digital format on your computer. So,
or any instrument.
Yeah, pretty much. Guitar, microphone, anything like that. So it basically converts, the analog waveforms into a digital, data stream that gets recorded onto your computer. So a box kind of like these interfaces, like the Scarlett Range or the Claret Range, it's kind of like a bridge between that. You plug in your microphones, travels the data stream through your USB connection into your computer, and it records it into your digital audio workstation.
So there is some analog circuitry that then is digitized, and that's what goes into the computer, and then you can use that with any software, right?
Pretty much. I mean, there's of course, specialized recording softwares that you would want. I mean, depending on your personality or what you think is best. There's various different companies. We don't make that software though. We kind of just, work with the interfaces and kind of like take that market for ourselves.
So you have a range of interfaces here. Can you talk about them?
Yeah, no problem. So I mean, if you kind of pan through them, we have, the Scarlett Range, which is kind of our basic range here, the USB connectivity. It's a good starter interface. We have our Scarlett Solo, where we just have one mic input and one guitar input. It's kind of good for like, guitarists, singers, and kind of like that. Yeah. So, and of course the inputs kind of increase as you go higher up our ranges here. If you're recording like drums and all that, you'll get more inputs. Over here we have our Claret Range, like I said.
So this means you could do 8 inputs at one time?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, actually it has more inputs than that.
Yeah, so we have 2 in the front, 6 in the back, and then of course you can expand more digital expansion cards to kind of increase the number even further.
So what would be the theoretical limit of how many things you could record simultaneously with Focusrite interfacing?
Right, so I mean, for example, this one we have 18 in. So we have the first 8 are analog inputs, like microphones connected directly to the interface. But then we also have, like, for example, here, this is the Octo Pre. It's not technically an interface, it's like a expansion card. So this is where you would get any additional connections to kind of daisy chain into the interface. So you go through a digital connection that's called like ADAT. So you can add, like this has 8 preamps, you can add 8 more to this one for a total of 16. And then of course, there's other, ways to expand with other kind of, you can go third party, you can go with our interfaces, but it's kind of meant to be flexible with whatever you already have.
Did Focusrite develop its own preamps, its own microphone inputs preamps?
As far as preamps, yes. We haven't really delved into like the microphone world quite yet. I'm not sure about that, but as far as like the hardware itself, that's definitely ours.
I see you have a Focusrite branded or a Scarlett branded microphone here. Is what's that?
So it comes kind of packaged with our, basic studio deal. Oftentimes we'll sell like a studio deal with either the solo headphones and microphone or the 2i2 headphones and microphone, kind of like as a starter kit for, singer-songwriters, guitarists, people that just want to have it all and all ready for them right out of the box.
And what would the price point on this be?
Off the top of my head, I have my little cut sheet there. I think it's about 100 to 200. I think.
So it's very reasonable for.
Definitely reasonable for sure.
Yeah. So as we move up the line here, or along this line, you've discussed this, and what do we have here?
So yeah, moving into the Claret Range. So this is kind of like same concept as the Scarletts, but it's kind of a step up as far as the sound quality goes.
So better preamp, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. So the price point on the Clarets is a little bit higher, but I would say it's worth it. I mean, if you're kind of on a budget and you're just trying to get started, you would go with the Scarletts. But if you really want to go for a higher fidelity audio right off the bat, I would definitely go with the Clarets.
So we're here with the red line. What are these about?
So these are definitely more of a enterprise-wide kind of thing. We have our red interfaces here, red 4 Pre, red 8 Pre, red 16 lines. So these are our Thunderbolt interfaces, really high-end. If you were getting into audio over IP, this is what you might start out with. A lot of the times in enterprise audio situations, you'll have a lot of audio lines going. You would want to kind of tidy that up with network connections. So that's kind of a new technology that we're trying to get into to kind of breach into kind of a more enterprise-wide studio, like schools, education, that kind of thing.
So what would the application of your audio over IP be? What are you looking to do with that? Who are you trying to market that to?
So, universities, houses of worship, sound stages, that kind of thing, like more like bigger productions. So like sound stages, studios, theater productions, that kind of thing.
So what do we got here?
So yeah, like I was saying with the audio over IP, this kind of expands more, just kind of giving you more options. We have 2 input channel preamp that has Dante, so that's kind of the brand of the audio over IP protocol. We have just a dedicated headphone amp for audio over IP routing, and then of course we have kind of our these are our more heavy-duty enterprise kind of stuff. Depending on what kind of format you're using, MADI, AES. We have analog connections too. For example, the MP8R, it's kind of a standard, plug-in microphones to it, but it allows you to interface between an analog connection to an audio over IP, network. So you have your microphones going into it, and then you have your Ethernet cable going out to your network to other devices like this. So that's kind of the selling point. It's a lot more tidy.
So you have interfaces ranging from the lowest end, like home project studio, to the highest end enterprise needs.
Yeah, pretty much. Anywhere from like just your singer-songwriter bedroom recorder all the way up to your enterprise level, like theater production, house of worship, university kind of style. So it ranges from the lowest of lows to the highest of highs.
Now, why should people consider Focusrite and choose that over another brand?
I definitely think our preamps are kind of top of the line. Easy to use, I would say. We're really trying to push the boundaries as far as technology, and it's not much I can talk about publicly, but things are in the works for us. And we have excellent technical support anytime there's even an issue. Rarely as they do come up, we're there for you. You can always count on us to help you out.
How do people find out more about Focusrite products?
We have our website, Focusrite.com. Feel free to hit us up. If you need any support, you can go email us technical.support@focusrite.com.
Thank you very much, Greg Urbina, KUCR NAMM 2019 here at the Focusrite booth.